Welcome to Sorcha and Lilac, the Island Knitter Podcast TV. I'm Claire, and here you'll find a cozy mix of knitting, music, and stories inspired by Orkney life. Hello there again. I've just been doing a little test run on designing a pattern or with the assistance of AI. So I'm just going to show you a little clip of me doing that from my phone, and what results I got from doing that. And then when you come back, I'll show you what I've been doing up to now with it, because I am now on a new garment. And later on in the episode today, I'm going to show you what I finished, the one that I was working on last week. And next week I'm hoping I should be able to give you a preview of this finished item. We'll see. It might still be a work in progress, dependent on how I get on with all the things that are going on in my life, as you know. So let's just watch this little clip. So here we are. I've got these left. So I've got lovely peach, lavender, blue, orange, pink, cream. And so what happened next was I went to my AI assistant and said to them, look, in using the chat that we had about inspiration for these new patterns, can you create a garment in the style of 26 and 27's spring and summer collections? So using the colours that I've got, I've uploaded the photograph of the yarn that I've got and said that mainly there were 100 gram balls and a few under 50 gram balls. So we thought about it for a few moments, and then comes a random pattern quite quickly. And a few pictures for reference. And then I asked it to do a detailed knitting pattern tutorial, which it did. And this is what I'm following at the moment. Then I asked it, can you produce an image for this design that you created? And yes, and it did. Yes, so that was interesting, wasn't it? So I started on the pattern that I was given. I'm not going to give you all the details of the pattern because I want you to see how it progressed. So I started with 100 stitches for the neckline. It said to do 1.5 inches in rib, single rib, but I did about 1 inch. It asked me to use the 4mm needle. I've just used 4.5 all the way through. So that's a US number 7. So starting with a US number 6 and work through in a US number 7. Well, I've done that all in a 4.5mm US number 7. I'm working on what's called, this is what it's called on the pattern, the small and the medium size, which sort of comes to a 42 inch chest. So I did the ribbing. Then it told me to split and gave me the stitches to put the markers in. So I did that. So in this case, I can give you the numbers. The back was 28 stitches, the 2 sleeves were 22 stitches, and the front was 28 stitches, which all came to a total of 100 stitches. So then what was interesting was it talks about short rows. I have to say, they're not exactly short rows, they're the full row. How I'm going to deal with that at the end, I don't know. So that's why this is a good little test, isn't it? So what I've been doing is every knit row, I'm doing 4 increases at the places where there are markers. So just before I get to the marker by 3 stitches, I pick up a stitch to make one. And then, you know, in that bit there, pick up one of those bits there and knit into it. So then it says do that all the way round for the 4 increases. So I did that, and that in brackets on the first row, it had RS, which means right side. Then it says on the wrong side, purl a row. So basically what I'm doing is, instead of going round and round and round in a circular method, I'm working backwards and forwards. I don't mind that, but it just seemed a bit strange. At the end of the pattern, you see, because look, I'm left with a gap. It's all the same, but it's a gap. So you can see that this is the garment that AI said it would look like, and here's the pattern, and it's got the yoke increases there, work short rows for Raglan shaping. So then it has a little bit on a daisy motif chart for the front. Talks about shaping hems and ruffles and various other things. Yeah, there again it had some photographs of its inspiration. And then it shows you how to split between to get the sleeves, you know, and the front and the back. So therefore that was the pictures that it produced, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we, after knitting it, to see if the project is what it says it would look like. But I have my doubts, to be honest with you. But let's just wait and see, eh? Yeah, so basically I'm carrying on as per the pattern to see how it turns out, because obviously the pictures that you've seen in those clips are not like the pattern, the written pattern. So that is the only thing with designing with AI. It doesn't, for some reason, do the right picture for the actual written design. So I think if you've got an idea in your mind, is to draw it out and then photograph it, upload into your AI platform, and then just say, ask it to produce a pattern, a written pattern for your idea, a descriptive one, a detailed one, like the way I did it. Then when you come to knitting it, you're like the test knitter, you know what I mean? So you are going along the pattern and thinking, that could be written better. Then you make a little note. And then you test if actually the pattern is right. So I'm not at the end of my row yet. But it's coming along. I like the lavender. I like the colour collection. I'm going to see what it looks like when it's finished before I make any remarks on it. So you might have to come back next week for that one. Anyway, let's come up a bit closer. We saw the skirt last week. I know a lot of people said, "Woo, I like that skirt." That the ends need sewing in on that one. But what I was working on last week was the cardigan. Now the cardigan needs buttons yet. So those haven't been put on yet. I've got some green and I've got some red buttons, and I'm going to sort of make it a bit clownish in that way by using two different coloured buttons. But this is the cardigan. Obviously it needs a little, you know, touching up. So what I've done is, as you can see, I've done a long sleeve with a lace edging. The sleeve didn't take up much wool. I only had 100-gram ball of this, and I was able to use it in both sleeves. The only other place that I used the blue was in the bottom of the skirt there, and 2 stripes there. So I suppose I had half a ball, a 50-gram ball perhaps. And because I did open work crochet, I didn't use as much. And it's so simple to do. What I did was I picked up all the stitches around the sleeve opening that I'd left open with a double crochet stitch. Then I started going around using, let me come up, 5 chain stitches, and as you can see there's about a distance of 2 double crochets between it. So every 3rd double crochet starts the loop pattern. So you do 5 chains in the first double crochet, and then miss 2 double crochets and double crochet into the 3rd stitch along, and you keep doing that all the way around. Now then on the next rows I did a kind of a little triangle here. Can you see the triangle? I'm decreasing here. It's a kind of a shaping, and so I did that by, when I got to each corner, instead of doing another 3 chains, I went straight into the next loop with a double crochet. So it was like a decrease. So I did that about 3-4 times till they all met together. And then after that, it was just straight down. When I got to the bottom, you can see it flares out. The flaring out is, instead of, because you've made a loop and you've missed 3, you've missed 2 stitches between each loop section. Well, instead of doing 2 double crochets into each loop section, I've done 4 double crochets, which means that has now spread out. So it was probably, how many stitches on there? oh, not sure, probably 50, maybe 55. It should have been 55 at the top and then sort of decreased down, maybe about 50. And then once I'd increased along there, it made 60. And then when I came to do my lovely old shale stitch, I would have to increase it again. So I knitted it, the new colour in, did a purl stitch, and then on that row there I would have had to have increased. So I increased several times till I got about 90 stitches, and 90 is just right for an 18 stitch repeat like that. So yeah, now there's another little beautiful little thing coming to go with that, but I will show you that in another episode. We need the decoration. It just doesn't stop there. As you can see, it's a crop. Crops are in this year. So a crop, and it's the larger stripe here, a smaller one, a very small one, because I don't have much of that left. And this one, I've got nothing of that left now. And I did the sort of edging, the old shell edging, to sort of similar to the sleeve. A little bit pink. I've got a little bit of pink left, as you know. But how I cast off, which is another sort of different way of doing things, is when I got to the bottom, I used my blue. And when I cast off normally, you use your normal yarn, don't you? Well, instead I just brought in the blue and just cast off with the blue. And it comes out with a lovely edging like that. It's almost invisible, although it's not. So I've done that on the bottom, and I've also done that on the bottom of the sleeve. Well, both sleeves. Well, I could have done it in pink, but I like this blue for some reason. Like I said before, the blue and the green to me is lovely. Okay, so that needs buttons. It's got buttonholes down there. They were all to match in with the stripes. Apart from this one here, obviously, which is a short stripe there. So I did it a bit further up, that last one. But they're all even. Yeah, oh, and of course on the top, I've done a little shell. Crochet shell stitch. And that basically is on the same principle. Instead of doing 5 chains, I've done 5 trebles into one stitch in the edge, missed a couple of stitches, done a double crochet. Can you see that? And then 5 trebles in the next 2 stitches later, 2 stitches later, double, then 2 stitches later, 5 trebles. So that's my little crocheted edge, which I think is pretty. I like the pretty cream edge. Sort of makes it all fit in with that little bit of cream edge. It makes it think lace. Oh, that's lace. So yeah, that's that. Yes, so that's... I wasn't sure about this. I really wasn't sure about this. I'm still not sure about this. Let me know what you think about it. Do you think it was successful? And what I'll do is I'll put the photographs up of what the original designs were. So that's the cardigan. That's the skirt. Again, it's got, I'll just do, if you weren't here last week, go to my last week's episode, because it's you know, it's full of information on where I got the yarns and why I designed it this way. So there is the skirt, again using the stripe detail, and at the bottom the lace on this is, let me just show you close up, like that, and it's got a picot edge, see, little picot edge. So I like to do little different things. And you know what I thought? Okay, if you're not a colour person and you just wanted a skirt like just a plain skirt, you can use this pattern to make a beautiful skirt with lovely beautiful yarns, you know, like you're knitting for olives, your cotton merinos, your merino and the silk together, holding them together and making a beautiful skirt in, well, cloud white is the big colour for Pantone, isn't it? So a white skirt like that with a white cardigan like that, oh, now you see, that would make a beautiful white cardigan, wouldn't it? That would make a beautiful plain white cardigan with the sleeves. Yes, so, you know, use your imagination, guys. Use your imagination. When you're knitting on a budget, when you're knitting on a budget, you can't always get what you want. It's true. You can get a cone of white yarn. You could do it that way. That would save money. Get a nice 1 kilogram cone, and then if it's 4-ply cotton or 4-ply anything, merino or whatever, you can always double it up to make a knit, a double knit. So holding 2 strands together basically. Another place I used to like to get coned yarn, it was Holst yarn in Denmark. I haven't looked to see if there's anything, what's going on in the Holst yarn department, so that might be something you can have a look at for natural yarns. And they do a lovely collection of colours. I think they are sort of, I think that's the super knit. Super knit. Yes, and it always washes out nicely. I've got some of that in here. In fact, quite a bit in here. In this one there's a limey green, and there's an emerald green, and they are Holst yarns, and this is nice to wear. It's not prickly, and I've washed it several times because I wear it quite a bit. This one's a cropped top. Yeah, so have a good play around and come back next week and see how we've got on with this jumper. See how far I've got down it and whether it's driven me insane. And if you want any patterns, if you want me to make up a written pattern, just ask for it in the comments. The more people that ask, the more I'm likely to do it, because otherwise it's a lot of work if only 1 or 2 people come along and say, I want that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I did originally, it cost me quite a bit first off to have it done. Anyway.
Heat of Manjuna, ember glowing of sun, grew a silken cord.
Hello there, I thought I'd just bob in. Lighting's bad today. Oh, what a day. It's what, 2:13, and this is how dark it is. I've got my light on already. Anyway, I just wanted to bob in and say that if you haven't already, would you please have a look at my new YouTube channel, which is called Claire Lydia Ray Music, because I've been putting my music up on Spotify. And what I've been doing as well is, and I've been mentioning this a couple of times, I've been doing some little animations too. So I'll put a link in the description for you to have a little look, and on this side there may be one or two of my little videos just to look at while you see me talking. Anyway, that would be lovely. And I also wanted to say a tremendous thank you to everybody. We have now reached, last count, 1,022 subscribers. Isn't that brilliant? Oh, it's taken me what? This is video number 290, if not more, I think, and possibly about 4 years to get to this stage. So yeah, I am really thankful to you for all your support. And, you know, it's onwards and upwards from here on, isn't it? So, yeah, no, I'm not monetized yet, but monetization comes when you have about 4,000 watch hours. Well, I had that about 2 years ago, but I just didn't have enough subscribers. And so now it's kind of, it's every 12 months you get rated on how many hours you've been watched over that 12-month period. So up to now it's pretty low, but that's because I've been throwing out a lot of shorts which you've all enjoyed, and basically I haven't been around that much this year, as you know, to do a lot more, well, 2025, to do a lot more of my knitting stuff. So yeah, onwards and upwards, plenty of colour this year, and anything I'm enjoying doing, I'll just try and let you know. I'll try and sit down and film for 5 minutes. That's what I find difficult, is the timing, how much time it takes to do things. And you would say, well, you're not working, you're not doing this, you're not doing... Yeah, it's true. I quite often, as I said before, sit in my bed and work. So, you know, I do some work, but it's more to do with my design work. And today I'm excited as well, because I'm waiting for the proof of my new colouring book, which is up on Amazon. And I'll put the link to all my books, music, everything else that I'm doing, just to make ends meet. You know what I mean? As long as the ends meet, I'm not unhappy, because, you know, that's what we do here, isn't it? Letting the ends meet. So there you go. Lovely to see you all again, and thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And be back next week at similar time, Friday, and hopefully I'll have something more to show you. So there you go. Anyway, I've got to go now. I've got a phone call coming in. So keep knitting. See you next time.
Decades later in pearls, nothing has changed the same.